Good day guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Classic Designer, and if you are watching this video right now, congratulations, you are among the first persons to ever see my first ever YouTube video. And in this video we're going to be covering how I actually created this cool landing page animation, and you could also use that for your project. And we're also going to be covering how I created these 3D assets and the assets in the background. Every assets were created in Figma. In later videos I'm going to be showing you how I actually created this carousel and these animations, and I placed them on hover triggers. When I shared this on Twitter, a few persons reached out to me asking how I actually created these animations for this particular project. So in later videos we're going to be covering that also. So let's get on to the business of the day. So let's start from the assets. What makes something a 3D? How do we make this plane shape a 3D? For something to call the 3D dimensional shape, it means you can be seen from 3-dimensional view, meaning we're talking about lights and shadows. So how do we give this plane shape that illusion? We're going to add a shadow to this plane shape. So first of all, we go to effects, then inner shadow. Let's increase the X value. By increasing the X value, we have successfully transformed this shape into a 3D shape, but though it's not looking like that right now, but by the time we increase the blur and increase the blur rate, it's gradually giving it the shape of a sphere and not just an ellipse or a circle. And if we increase the opacity to, let's say, 50, we have given it that illusion that there is a very bright light coming from here and it's casting a dark shadow over here. And if we increase the blur again, it gives it that illusion of a 3D sphere. The difference right now is that there is no surface which is resting on, but looking at it you could tell that this is a 3D object. And that's the principles we're going to be using in creating our assets. In creating our assets, first of all, you want to get an ellipse. Let's increase the ellipse to, let's say, 300. Let's centralize it. Then let's give the ellipse a stroke. Let's give it a stroke of, let's say, 30 or 25. Then we're going to remove the fill and give it a lighter gray. Let's just give it a gray. So how do we transform this ring into a 3D object? Just like we did with the ellipse, we are going to give it an effect, an inner shadow. We're going to increase the X value. You could also take the X value to the negative side, depending on where you're telling your viewers that the light is coming from. So we're going to do that, and if you increase the Y value or reduce it, it gives it a different illusion entirely. And by making the Y value 4, we just place it on a plane, on a safe side for me, and we're going to increase the blur and also increase opacity. By increasing opacity to 50, we could see that our plane ring has gradually become a sphere. I say a sphere, it has gradually become a 3D object. And increasing the blur, the more you increase the blur, the more it fades into the object, giving it a softer shadow, and it gives it that illusion of it being a 3D object. And now let's give it a different color. Let's say a dark orange gradually looking like brown, and we're going to go here and give it a similar shadow but a darker one. Increase opacity to like 80. By doing this, we have successfully created a 3D ring in Figma. Now let's duplicate. I'm going to shrink it, centralize it. Let's increase it to, let's say, 20. If we give it a uniform stroke weight, it wouldn't be bad, but for distance sake and the illusion we're trying to create, let's give it 20. Let's duplicate again, centralize it, reduce it again, centralize it. Let's give it 15. Then the last one, stick it to the middle, reduce, centralize it, make it smaller again, then we centralize it, then let's give it 10. Yep. And like this, guys, we have successfully created a 3D object. And now, how do we successfully animate this? How do we animate this? If you're talking of how I actually got the coloring in my original project, I actually mixed two colors together. One was the purple. I used purple here, then I took it and I placed orange on the other way here. Yes, something like this. But you must not do exactly how I did mine. I'm going to copy this quality and I'm going to share it on these. Yeah. So let's go straight to the animation. When it comes to animation, I'm going to just duplicate this down here. When it comes to animation and creating interactive components, I like giving my own frame, not the frame that's going to be given by the component. I like giving my own frame, something big enough to accommodate my animation. And when it comes to animation, the frame, the position of the object on the frame is very important depending on the kind of animation you are trying to achieve. So you have to make sure that the objects are not placed at odd positions at different frames, depending on how realistic or the kind of animation you are trying to achieve to make it look more realistic. So my first animation, how it's going to be, for the first frame, everything seems to be together, everything is hidden, so we're going to share property where we're going to take this guy to 300. Yeah, take it to the back, 300. We're going to correct the weight of our strokes with time, but let's just take them to 300 first. Then I'm going to select, I'm going to make this 25, turn 15 to 25, because that's the first illusion we're trying to give to our viewers. Make it 25. Automatically everything disappears, it turns to 1. So In the next frame, I want everything to shrink. So I'm going to go to the second, I'm going to go to this frame. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to go to this frame, go to the second one. I'm going to shrink it. I'm going to shrink it. I should have just duplicated the first one. That was a mistake, but this is not going to take us a little bit longer. But just bear with me. For yours, you could just duplicate the first one to save you some time. So I'm going to make this 15. Then the last one, I'm going to shrink it. I'm going to make it 10. Yep. So I'm going to duplicate this again. Now what I'm going to do here is a little bit tricky. Now I'm going to take this guy here, the one behind, I'm going to take it behind here a little bit. Then I'm going to space them out just like this. I'm going to space them out just like this. Then the last one, I'm going to take it here. So if you notice something, by the time we change the color of our sphere, our shadows were not so obvious anymore. So we're going to make them darker. We're going to increase the X value. Okay, yeah, to give it that 3D look. And we're going to share this property with the rest of them. So we're going to share this property with the rest of them. Pardon me, because this is going to also take time. It's not really paying attention to that, but yeah, we're going to share. Why I'm doing it individually is because sometimes if you give them a property as a group, when animating, there's going to be a little bit of uneasiness in the animation, trying to transition the inner shadow as a group instead of individually. I don't know if you get me, but if you experiment, you might find those changes, and that's why I'm trying to give them individually as opposed to being a group. So yeah, we're already at the last part. Thank you for sticking around. So basically I copied the first inner shadow property, and now I'm pasting it here, and I'm taking out the previous inner shadow property. Just click the side here, it highlights it, then you paste the previous one you've copied. So this is how it's looking like now. Not looking so perfect, but I don't want to take like much time here, but yeah. Now I'm going to duplicate this here, And what I'm going to do to this is I want to shrink it. I want to give it the illusion of it like zooming out, then yeah, it's zooming out. And for interactive components, if you want something to like fade in, you just reduce the opacity of the object. And I'm going to take this one to, let's say, 20. No, I'm going to give it 10. Yeah, let's give it 10. And what I do is I select all of them. I select them all, then I create a component set. Yeah, I create a component set. And on this now, we're going to do a prototype. So I want them to behave like, I want them to work independently. So I'm going to give it an after delay. And how much time do I want it to wait? How much time do I want it to delay? I'm going to give it at 1, because I don't want it to delay much. If there should be any delay, it should be in the transitioning, not in the waiting. And I'm going to give it in and out. We would have created custom smart animation, but just practice that on your own so we don't waste too much time. And I'm going to give it 1000 milliseconds because I want it to be not so fast and not so slow, but a little bit smooth. I'm going to give after delay of 1. I really think we touched this one. After delay of 1. Yeah, and after delay of 1, ease in and ease out. So I'm going to bring this guy out, so let's test it. Let's take it in here, and let's see. Let's hide these guys. Let's hide them. Let's take this guy to the middle. Let's take this guy to the middle, and let's see. Okay, I think I lost my internet connection. Let me quickly connect. Just lost my connection to realize that. So just give me a minute. And yeah, so we're back. So let's just test it here. Let's test it here. So as you can see that? Let's go again. Can you see that? Now let's make it look bigger. Can you see that? So going again, it spreads, it goes back to the side, and it turns. By adjusting your colors, then yours might look like better because our colors were not really planned out. So yeah. So that's like the first part of it. This is like the most anticipated part of the work people are asking of. So yeah, so this is how I actually like got that done. Then the next part of it is talking about the Bitcoin floating, and that's where we talk about nested interactive components. And I'm going to take the assets here. I'm going to copy this from my previous work. So for this, I'm going to take this guy out. I already created this asset down. It's just basically using the pen tool and creating circles around it. Anyways, I'm going to just show you how I actually did this, but I'm not going to be putting those lines because it's going to take our time. So I'll need equal. So first of all, let's give it the yellow. I'm going to give it a stroke, and give it a stroke of 3. Then yeah, and I'm going to create another ellipse. Let's see. So I'm going to take this one down and take it here. I'm going to remove the stroke of the outer one, so to give me that vibe, I'm just going to take this B here, just going to copy it. Oh, my bad, just took, it's actually like a vector. Oh, it's in an auto layout. Let me not scatter that. So how do I make this glow? So I'm going to still duplicate this ellipse again. Don't know why I reacted that way. I'm going to duplicate this ellipse, and I'm going to add a layer blur to it. There's an ellipse at the back, so I'm going to add a layer blur to it. I'm going to take it behind the mod, and I'm going to increase it a little bit, right? Let me just give it 105. Or let's say 110, because if I increase the blur rate, it gives it that illusion of it glowing. That's how I achieved that glowing effect. Let's make our coin color a little bit brighter and sharper. I'm going to steal this color. So yeah, now how did I create the up and down movement? As I said, I'm going to create an independent frame for this, like I always do. I'm going to create a frame big enough so my movement would not be disturbed. Let me just auto layout this, then I'm gonna centralize it. I don't want my movement to be disturbed. I might increase the height of this frame. Yeah, and I'm going to centralize this. I'm going to take off the fill. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to duplicate it again because of the type of animation I want to achieve. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to create a component set. For this first one, I'm going to shrink it. I'll shrink it, and I'm going to place it at the middle, and I'm going to completely take it out because I want it to like dissolve in, right? I want it to dissolve in. Then for this, I'm going to take it up. I'm going to take it up. I'm going to take it up, and this one, I'm going to take it a little bit downwards. So that's how I want the illusion to be like. So let's prototype it. So I want them to be an automatic movement. So as usual, we're going to take this one down here, and yeah, I want to give this let's say 800 is in and out. After delays can only be used on frames to frames, so keep that in mind. Then 800, and I want the animation to work in a way that once it gets here and from here it gets here, I want it to return back here. So I created a loop where it just for eternity is going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down for eternity. And that's the illusion I want to create. So I'm going to bring this guy out. It's invincible, but it's there. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to place it here. So you're going to be seeing like two animations happening at the same time. Right, so I'm going to just position this one here, and I'm going to, yeah, can you guys see it? So we have two animations here. So this one has stopped, but this one is still moving. Why? Because we created a loop, so it's just moving up and down, smooth, up and down, up and down. So watch it. It's going up and down, up and down. So yeah. So now let us nest it into this particular work here, and it's not going to show up until this work is done, until this particular one is done. And I noticed something really weird. We're going to take this guy down. Like I said, I always make my frames bigger to avoid a little bit of uneasiness in my animation, and I noticed a little bit of uneasiness when it first showed up. There was a line here showing that the glow was a little bit above the frame, so I had to like take it down a little bit. So now let us nest this guy inside this frame. I'm not going to put it at the beginning because I don't want it manifesting at the beginning. I want it to manifest when this work is done. So I'm going to bring it here, and I'm going to position it at the middle here. I hope I'm correct. There's only one way to find out, is to check and increase the opacity to see where it is. So now let us take it out again. And now if we animate again, we're going to see the changes. Can you see that? So we have succeeded in nesting into a component inside another component. So we have nested like an interactive component inside another one. So I'm very sure, and I hope and I pray that you actually are getting it. So yeah, so let's get into another part of this work. Let's take this guy out. When creating backgrounds, sometimes you don't just want to go too overboard and distract your users, right? So for this particular one, let me give it 600 by 600. Okay. Pardon my video quality though. Should have said this earlier, but pardon my video quality. So we're going to give it I want it to be darker. So let's go a little bit darker. It's a little bit darker. So I want to give it a layer blur. Then I'm going to increase the blur rate. Let's give it a blur rate of 500. So great, 500. Let's say 400. A file 400. So in this dark purple night, we want to create stars. So when creating a star, let's drop our first star, and this star has like 3 nodes. Each have their own functionality. This one tends to like skew it in a little bit. This one has to deal with the roundness of the edges, and this one tells you how many hands the stars should have. So for our star, we want it to have 4 hands. That is a count of 4. The ratio is alright in my opinion, and the roundness is fine too, a roundness of 1. So how do we make this star to shine? We have to duplicate it. Once you want to make an object shine, you need to duplicate that object, because you want the light to be more like an accurate shape of the object you are trying to illuminate. So I'm going to take the smaller star and keep it at the middle. I'm going to give them 2 separate colors so that you see what I'm talking about. I'm going to give the bigger one, let me use it's a light orange, yeah, and I'm going to make it bigger. Yeah, I'm going to make it bigger, yes. And so to make this star shine, I'm going to make the bigger light at the back. I'm going to give it not a stroke, my bad. I'm going to give it a layer blur. Yay! Our star is shining, but I want it to shine even brighter. So another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it a lighter color too, but I don't want it to be like yellow. I just want it to be a little bit like whitish yellow to give it that illusion for us. So I'm going to select the both of them, and I'm going to reduce it. And I can increase the layer blur of my luminous light. Yes, I'm going to increase the layer blur of my star to make it shine brighter, and that is how you create these beautiful stars, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, then you could duplicate the stars. Let's give it an auto layout. Then let's duplicate our stars, increase the sizes to tell the distance between the view and where the star is. The star is not too big, so we could like duplicate our stars, reduce, just duplicate the stars, duplicate, just create lovely luminous stars in the galaxies. Okay, now what else are we missing? I would have touched planetary bodies, but I'm going to create a separate video for that, because this video is becoming too long already. I have like a lot of stuff to share with you guys, so if you stick around, you might see this tutorial coming up. I already like created some stuffs. I even got I recreated one from Cosmos Networks, but I already went advanced and created some realistic stuffs that I would like to share with you guys if you stick around for a while. And yeah, so I'm not going to be touching planetary bodies today. Let's just talk about animation and a little bit of stars and the illusions and stuff like that. So now let us go straight to the overall animation of the web page, and that's where we're going to end this video. So far, I hope I've done a great job. I apologize if I'm not giving it to you as you expected. Okay, so now let us go straight to the animation of this web page. So I'm going to be stealing from the existing web pages, and I'm going to tell you how these animations work. So first of all, you want everything to be there on the animation. So we're going to copy this guy out. We're going to get this guy out also, and yeah, we're going to get this guy out here. Yeah, basically that's what I need, and we're going to use our animated work. We already worked on. Congratulations, guys. So yeah, so let's get it done. So first of all, I want to place this guy here. Pardon me if I'm not using any grid right now. I'm just going to place it, just give it 100 here, and going to place this guy taken here, place him at the middle, distance, okay, here, let's see. It's looking okay to me, and I'm going to take this guy here and take it below a little bit. Yep. Then our final work will stay here. Need to centralize it a little bit. This might not be as perfect as the original, but I'm sure you could create yours to be better. So what I'm going to do right now is this. Okay, let me make sure that this guy is at the middle. First things first, I'm going to duplicate. Yes. So what am I going to do in this first side? This first place has to be empty because we want that cool animation. So first things first, I'm going to hide this guy. I'm going to hide this guy inside this frame here. So I'm going to take him up. So when it's completely hidden, I'll leave him there. I don't want this guy to come outside from this frame. I just want it to slide out from something like accurate from here. That is what I want. So I'm going to give it its own personal frame. Oh, my bad. What's the weight? 663,471. So I'm going to give this 663,471. Yes, our frame is that big now. And I'm going to copy this guy and I'm going to place him inside the frame, and I'm going to centralize it. Now I'm going to take this frame, I'm going to take it back here, making sure that it carries the exact spacing that I planned for it. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to copy this here, and I'm going to bring back where is it? Yep, I'm going to bring this guy back down here because that's like the first animation that we want to achieve. But in this first place, let's select our first and let us hide it inside the independent frame that's already created for it. Okay. I don't want to just drag it so it does not fall out of the frame. Yes, and I'm not going to keep this guy here. I'm going to take it out. I'll bring it in later. Then for this guy, I'm going to shrink him. I will shrink it. Then many of you don't know this is an image, and why I made it an image was the fact that my system could not animate vectors properly because of how heavy that landing page that I created was. So I started converting some assets that were not so much interacted with. I just converted in photo frame for better animation quality. So what are we going to do? We're going to close the opacity here. So we're going to duplicate this also, and in this frame now, okay, I think I've done something wrong. Not really wrong though, but I think we're going to delete these two. We're going to take this guy out also. Then let us take in these ones we brought in here. Let's duplicate them, cancel, then put them here also. So we have both of them here. So this one will be the first one that shows up. Then after this, then this will show up also. Yes. So after this shows up, then this one becomes the last one that shows up here. So let's bring this in here, our animated work. So far so good. So let's prototype. So let's give it an after delay. How long should it wait? I'm not interested in it waiting. How long should it animate? 1000 milliseconds is fine. Then the trigger after delay 1000 milliseconds. Then once it gets here, I want it to be after delay 1. I don't want it to wait, or I don't want it to be smart animate because there's nothing really smart animating from here to here. This is already an independent animation, so I want it to be instant so that when it gets there, the animation kickstarts immediately. Okay, so I'm going to put it on instant instead of smart animate. So now let us play this and see. So okay. Now I know what happened here. Now smart animation has its rules, in the sense that for it to work, they have to bear the same name, and this one is having 1, while this one is having 2. So we have to edit the name. Then this one is having frame 92505. This one is having frame 92504. So we have to edit the name, and let us try again. Then let me see, 92493. Let's see what's within 92493. So let's try again. Yay, that's smart animate for you. So don't mind the fact that our animation is looking caricature here. I did not dimension it properly to the size, or we could actually increase the size to actually look at it. So take your time and practice on your own, and Let's just increase this to make it look better. Let's make it look better. Let's make it look better. Let's take it up here. What happened? Yo, our work is pissed. It says you have defied the gods. Why will you change my size? Well, let me take it up again. Naturally, it's not supposed to behave that way. Not for any reason. But let me see why. Really. Let me see why. I'm curious. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so far so good. This is how I managed to get this done. So recap, do not forget what we learned about animations, about shadows, lights and softening shadows, about animation, interactive components, nested components. Let's not forget about that, and thank you for sticking around. Like, subscribe, share. I'll be showing you all the fun stuffs, animations in Figma, and how to create some awesome planetary bodies, and I'll be showing you guys other cool stuffs as time goes by. Thank you for staying around, and have a great day.